Welcome to Kykar Wins Fury. As far as our opening hand goes, we do have Faithless Looting. We're going to keep on this one. We've got Talran, which does allow us. It's going to be double blue. I think I'm actually okay with shipping this one back. So let's go and ship this one back. Yeah, I do like this. That's going to be Monastery Mentor, Intangible Virtue, Cyclonic Rift, Blasphemous Act. Yes, we will definitely keep on this one. And we are playing against Edgar Markov, which is probably going to be a lot of vampires. And so let's do this. We're almost going to use Blasphemous Act as our Cyclonic Rift, so let's just go ahead and put Cyclonic Rift on the bottom. Actually, no, let's put Intangible Virtue. Intangible Virtue is nice, but that's kind of one of those cards we'd rather draw into the late game and kind of buff up our board, so I feel like we have some time to find something like that. So let's go and lead off with Windswept Heath, and then anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, welcome to Kykar Wins Fury. Hope you're excited to get some fireworks going on our side of the battlefield. Hopefully, we can put on a good show for those vampires and scare them. Be like, it looks a lot like daylight. All right, so we run into Tranquil Cove, which we will certainly take. Just so we're online for Monastery Mentor, let's go and lead off with Tranquil Cove. And we'll gain 1 life, get ahead in the life gain race, and then anything else past the turn. We're playing Kykar, Wins Fury. Flying, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Then, for an activated ability, sacrifice a spirit, add red mana to your mana pool. Playing against Edgar Markov, which, let's see if they got anything for the turn. All right, let's go and crack Windswept Heath. And since we do have 2 blue-white sources, I think at this point what we'll probably end up doing is just grabbing a... Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Let's go and grab... Actually, we'll go and grab Triumph. There we go. That's going to be a lot better. So we'll have Triumph enter the battlefield. That way we get all of our Jeskai colors, and we will be set to go. But yes, we're definitely going to lead off with Monastery Mentor to hopefully get those monk tokens on the battlefield, our little fireworks helpers, because they like to have a lot of fun. And actually, since we do have an Islander Mountain, let's go and lead off with Sulphur Falls. Let's go for Monastery Mentor. And make sure we tap down for white on one of these colors. Get down Monastery Mentor, and then anything else past the turn. Playing against Edgar Markov. Whenever you cast another vampire spell, if Edgar is in the command zone, let's get the turn passed so I can read it. There we go. Whenever you cast another vampire spell, if Edgar is in the command zone or on the battlefield, create a 1/1 black vampire creature token, first strike and haste. Then, whenever Edgar attacks, put a +1 counter on each vampire that you control. So... should be pretty fun. I haven't played against Edgar in a long time, and also our life totals are at 40 because I stopped recording in the 1v1 commander room and simply just started recording in the commander room on Magic Online. So it's technically not 1v1. Well, we'll explain it here in a second. So let's go lead off with Shivan Reef, and we could be walking into a board wipe right now. I feel like we can still go Kykar on this one, because if something does happen to Kykar, let's say they do have spot removal, I do like the ability. Let's make sure that we tap down. There we go. Make sure we're not taking any pain off of this. So let's get Kykar down, and let's go and push in with Monastery Mentor. And then, yeah, because something happens to Kykar, we still have Talran in the hand to get some sort of flying threat on the battlefield. So I think this is a good play. So let's go and push in for 2, drop our opponent down to 38. And then anything else past the turn over there. So they do have Sword of Hearth and Home. Protection from green and white. Whenever it deals combat damage to player, exile up to 1 target creature you own. Then search your library for a basic land card. Put both on the battlefield under your control, then shuffle. Okay. So just a little bit enter the battlefield effect, so we can definitely dodge that. But at least having some sort of payoff spell with Disenchant on Sword, that's going to be a pretty good feeling for us. Even if we want to use Cyclonic Rift as a little bit more of a kind of preemptive tempo strike, we can definitely cash in some extra value. Monastery Mentor and Kykar Wins Fury. Maybe even set up a Cyclonic Disenchant line of play. So, but we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you're looking to build some of the new dungeon decks from Forgotten Adventures, hey, you know what to use. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. Let's also give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time. But by free time, it is fireworks time. Let's get it going. All right, so we do run into Pool from Tomorrow. We do have Prowess, so if we actually want to do some stuff in our first main phase, that's going to help us out, get some extra combat damage. Since we have no counter magic, we'll probably just end up going Disenchant right now. I think that'll work out. So let's go and go Disenchant on Sword. I kind of like that, because of them getting extra lands, I'm not a huge fan of that. So let's tap down white. Let's tap down Shivan Reef. That's going to be Disenchant. Let's go and get these Let's get these triggers on the stack. Look at that. We're going to get Prowess. It's going to make it a 3/3, so we'll be able to swing in for 6. And we're going to take care of that sword. And then we can also rift Commander Sphere back to the hand if we wanted to. That would kind of delay them for a turn. We might end up doing that. We'll kind of see what we want to do. Let's go and push in for 6. And actually, I do kind of like doing that. So let's go and swing in. That's going to be 6 coming across. Let's go Cyclonic Rift on a Commander Sphere. Yeah, because that's going to stop them from getting Edgar out there. So let's go and push that back because maybe they just spend next turn trying to redeploy Commander Sphere back out. And that kind of buys us a little bit of an extra turn. So let's go and always yield to this Prowess trigger. There we go. And then worst case scenario, next turn, we'll just go for a pull from tomorrow for 2 to really buff this entire board up, which I do like. Okay, so we're swinging it for 7. That's going to drop our opponent down to 31. And the other good thing about Pull from Tomorrow, since we are getting these spirit tokens on the battlefield, we can also go for a Pull from Tomorrow for 4 instead of simply just 2. And then hopefully that'll help us find some other stuff to kind of keep this board state moving. But yes, happy 4th of July. If you're not from the United States, or maybe you don't celebrate the 4th of July, happy normal day. Happy just Jeskai Spellslinger Day. Let me say that. If you haven't seen Kykar before, this is my fireworks deck. You know, we like to get some tokens on the battlefield, some monk tokens and some spirit tokens. We've also got young pyromancer hanging around in here. And the name of the game is to just build up our board state and start having some fun like that. You can see this is exactly what we're going for right now. All right, opponent will end up going for that Commander Sphere line of play, so I do like that. Buys us a little bit of extra time to chip away at our opponent's life total. And then if things do get nutty, let's say they have a board wipe and they get a lot of vampires down, we're still sitting pretty good on Blasphemous Axe, and we'll certainly take that. We could go for Talrand, but I think at this point we'll just... we've got a lot of value on the battlefield. We can simply just use Talrand as kind of like a Commander B right now in case something does happen to Kykar. All right, so we're running to Soul Ring. So let's go and get that down because that is a non-creature spell, and that really does make the monk tokens happy. So let's get these triggers on the stack. And while we have open, our opponent's only sitting on 1 mana, so we're definitely going to go for a pull from the mall right now, sacrificing. We could let these spirits swing in, but I want to draw as many cards as possible. So we're going to get this Soul Ring down. And let's go for pull from tomorrow. And we're going to sacrifice the 3 spirits to add red mana to our mana pool, then go for this pull from tomorrow, which is going to make it a lot better. Let's go pull from tomorrow. Yeah, we'll take that. That's going to be pull from tomorrow for 6. So let's get the monk token. Oh, this is just absolutely beautiful. I'm loving this. And this is why we play Kykar. All right, so we get these monk tokens. Let's draw 6 cards. We do have to discard 1 card, but I know out of the 6 we'll find something that we can definitely get. Ooh, Mana Crypt. That'll help out too. So let's drop... I think at this point, I'm actually okay with dropping Anointed Procession. And we're at a point now to where we've got a lot of tokens. So let's drop Anointed Procession. Let's make the land drop. That's going to be Mana Crypt. Oh, yeah, look at this. This is... Ooh. This is definitely... I don't know if it's the finale, but this is pretty good. All right, so let's get all these tokens. Oh, yes. All right, we'll get Mana Crypt down, and that also allows us to go for Arcane Signet, which is a wonderful feeling. Let's drop in Arcane Signet. Okay, so we get Arcane Signet down, then anything else. We can sacrifice one of the spirits to go for the Royal Scion. Yeah, why not? Let's have some fun. So we'll get down Arcane Signet, and our opponent's definitely being a very good sport on this one. Let's go and sacrifice one of the Flying Spirit tokens, and then we're going to tap down blue, go for red. Let's get down the Royal Scions. Oh, yeah. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on that one. We're just going to keep the value train going. So we get all these prowess triggers. So we're going to have 5, we're going to have 10. We're going to have, I don't know if the prowess on Monastery meant to resolve just yet. No, we hadn't got that on there. So we're looking at 10. That's going to be 16. That's going to, yeah, we're going to do a pretty big chunk of damage on this one. And then once we get the Royal Scion down, I don't think we have any more free mana. But yeah, there we go. Storm Killing Artist to kind of keep the party going. So anyway, if you enjoyed those fireworks, hey, like and subscribe. All right, bye. Welcome to Kykar, Wind's Fury. As far as opening hand goes, yes, we will. We'll keep on this one. We got it. We got Brainstorm. We got Skull Clamp. We have 3 lands, and we have Disenchant. A little bit of interaction with our opponent's board state, and I do like that. And we're playing against Toski, which should be a lot of fun. I like that. All right, so let's kick it over to our turn. Let's go and lead off probably with Tranquil Cove. I think we're good with that. Let's go and lead off with Tranquil Cove. Let's get the life gain. And let's move the stack down. There we go. It looks a lot better. And then anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Kykar, Wind's Fury, the Fireworks Expert. Flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Then, for an activated ability, sacrifice a spirit, add red mana to your mana pool. Playing against Toski, Bearer of Secrets. This spell can't be countered, indestructible. Toski attacks each turn if able. Then, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And our opponent went for Squirrel Sanctuary. Whenever non-token creature you control dies, pay 1, return to the hand to get another squirrel going. So, pretty cool. Let's lead off with, we can actually just end up going island. Yeah, because we run into Steam Vent, so we can leave out Brainstorm with a fetch land at this point, or we can just kind of go for Skull Clamp. Yeah, I think we're okay with that. Let's just go and get Skull Clamp down. If we need to end up going for Brainstorm, we can always use Scalding Tarn to kind of shuffle away our stuff. So let's get Skull Clamp down, and then anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link that allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you use that link, much obliged. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. Let's give a quick shout out, and that's going to be Toski. Yeah, we can shout out to Toski, but also let's give a quick shout out to Ink Gaming. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time. By free time, I mean fireworks. Let's get some spirits on the battlefield. All right, so our opponent's going to get a Toski trigger, cashing in a card draw for that squirrel token. And let's go and go for Brainstorm. I kind of like that because we do have the Scalding Tarn option to kind of shuffle some stuff away next turn. It's going to be Heliod's Intervention, Command Tower, and Dragon Ship. So I do like holding on to these lands. So let's go ahead and put Heliod's Intervention on top. And I do like Dragon Ship because that does give us some sort of late game way to try to close the game out. So, and actually, I think we're okay with shuffling away that Heliod's Intervention because that's not something we desperately need. So, anything else, let's pass the turn. Now, we do have expansion online. So, if our opponent goes for some sort of ramp spell or something along those lines, we can copy that. So, we might end up doing that. If not, we can use it as a little bit of a late game, deal some damage. We can't do it to Toski, because Toski's indestructible, but we can certainly make it work. All right, so we got the crew swinging in. This could be 2. It's going to drop us down to 37, and that will be 2 card draw for our opponent. So they're drawing cards quicker than we can. But yeah, it's free time. So what are we doing with Kykar? This is Jeskai Spellslinger, celebrating the 4th of July, the holiday. If you don't celebrate it, or you're not from the USA, then hey, it's just a normal Jeskai Spellslinger day. But yeah, getting the Kykar fireworks going, that's some fun magic. All right, opponent's going to tap out for 4. And let's see what this is. If we can use it for expansion, we might. If not, we'll just kind of hold on to it. This can be Champion of Lambhold, which we can definitely not use that. So let's go and crack Scalding Tarn. That way we can kind of shuffle away our library. Let's grab our Triumph. That way it enters the battlefield tapped, and we have access to that 3 mana. And we're going to be digging a little bit deeper into our library to find some sort of little bit of board wipe interaction. All right, it's going to be Cryptolith Rite. And our opponent's off to a very good start. And now that I think about it, I think we're going to go Disenchant on that. That's a lot of mana. So let's go and pop that with Disenchant. So we're going to get rid of that. That gets rid of that extra mana. And see what we run into. Run into Homeward Pass. So let's get Kykar down. Let's go for Command Tower. Let's get old Kykar down. And thankfully, we're playing against mono green, so we don't really have to worry about any sort of spot removal. We do have to watch out for fight stuff, but with this, we're going to be able to get some stuff moving. Now, we do have expansion. That will give us an extra spirit on the battlefield. It's not the best right now. If we want to pop Dragon Shift, we could do that too to get in an extra point of damage. But at this point, yeah, with us having Skull Clamp on the battlefield, and we're trying to keep up with this card draw from mono green, I think that we should, we'll probably end up going for expansion, even if it's just expansion for 1, popping maybe the squirrel token, or if we can stop the Champion of Lambhold, we might end up doing that, because I kind of like going for that. So we'll see if they get any other creatures down, but if we can get Champion to stick at a 1, that'll be pretty good. So yeah, I think we're good with this block. If they have some sort of fight stuff, so be it. So we're going to block on Toski. That's going to be 1 damage to Kykar. We're going to stop the card draw. And if we can get the Skull Clamp going on our Spirit tokens, that'll be a pretty good deal. Since we're not watching out for spot removal on Kykar against mono green, one thing we do have to watch out for is going to be artifact removal on Skull Clamp. But if we can get that that card draw going. This is going to be pretty fun. But yeah, outside of Kykar, what we got going on in here, this is Jeskai Spellslinger. If you don't know what Spellslinger is, that's just getting down some high-impact creatures, whether it's Kykar, Young Pyromancer, Monastery Mentor, I already said Young Pyromancer, Talrand, and just getting those down, start casting your normal stuff that you'd be doing in a commander deck, and then cashing in on those spirit tokens. And stuff like Dragon Shift, this is kind of like our overrun, our finisher for the deck. Having access to that. It is a lot of mana to go for the overload, but if we get a lot of... oh, bummer. They're going to get the token on the battlefield for a champion, so that'll stop us going for that damage. We can deal the 1 damage with Explosion to Gurk Wildspeaker. We'll see. Let's see what we draw into. If we run into Ancient Tomb or something, that would be pretty good. So let's drop in Mountain. And if we end up going Saheeli, that's really going to help us out because that's going to give us access. Let's go blue, blue, and then tap down red. That's going to give us a spirit token on the battlefield, and it's going to allow us to go for the Skull Clamp equip. So let's get Saheeli down. And we're just going to leave Saheeli up at this point. So let's go Skull Clamp onto Spirit Token. Let's cash in that 2 card draw. Alright, so we run into Talisman, which we can't get down just yet. So anything else is going past the turn. So if they do swing in the Beast Token, unfortunately at Saheeli, they will be able to do that. With Champion, we're going to take a quick look at Champion, because I always get the clause mixed up in my head. So creatures with power less than Champion's power can't block creatures you control. So at this point, we're safe. We are sitting at a 3/3, so that is more than Champion, so we're at least going to be able to deal with that. Now, as they get more and more counters on there, that's definitely going to be a bummer for us, because one of the nice things about playing Spellslingers, you just have this huge board state of tokens that can chump block all day, so... But something like Champion is something we want to watch out for. We are running Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshare, Proliferate. Target creature you control fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So yeah, that is going to get it on this one. That'll take care... I think it'll take care of the... Yeah, because they're going to deal damage. They should deal damage equal to each other. All right, so yes, we'll return Kykar back to the command zone. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have the land drop for next turn that allows us to go for Kykar again, so we might end up doing that. And one of the good things about them going for that Beast Token fight is that Saheeli should stick around sitting at a 1. So hopefully whenever we go for Talisman and maybe we draw into something else, maybe we can get a few servo tokens on the battlefield to kind of go for Skull Clamp. So, all right, so we got the crew swinging in, and they are... Yeah, it looks like we get the entire crew swinging in our life total, so we will certainly take that. Alright, so it's going to be 3 Toski triggers. And if you ever played Toski, just having a mono green commander that gets you to draw a bunch of cards with a bunch of little creatures, oh, that's the best feeling. And especially if you've got an indestructible commander like Toski, it makes it a lot of fun. So let's see if they drew into any sort of payoff spells. But yeah, at least for next turn, we've got Talisman, and we might... If we get the mana going, we might end up just going for Explosion to cash in some pretty good card draw. We do need to get a little bit more ahead on mana before we go for that, but at least getting some sort of net positive card draw, that'll really benefit us, especially with Skull Clamp out there. So, all right, so it's going to be another Beast Token on the battlefield with Gurk Wildspeaker. And that's going to be Haunted Cloak. It's Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. So we'll see what they end up putting that on. Thankfully, it does not grant protection yet, just Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. So they might end up putting that on Toski or Champion. So we'll see what they decide to go for with the equip. Okay, so we're going to equip the Cloak onto Toski. So we got a very well-dressed Toski. Alright, so let's see what we draw. Draw into Impulse. So let's go and make the land drop for the turn. Let's go for Glacial Fortress. Let's go for Talisman. Yeah, because we could go Kykar, but that's going to be a pretty good chunk. Next turn, it's going to be 6. It's going to be 8. And then that would be us taking the entire turn off. So let's just do this. Let's just go for Talisman of Progress. That's going to give us access to going for Skull Clamp on one of the servo tokens. And then we also have access to Impulse to kind of go for the equip on that same token too. So let's get Talisman down. Let's go for Skull Clamp onto servo. Since we're not going to be able to block anyway, we're going to go for the Skull Clamp equip. All right, Profros. Yeah, let's keep this going. So let's go for Impulse. And at this point, we're just looking for Swords to Plowshare, something along those lines. Some kind of cheap removal for Champion. That way we can start blocking on these creatures. Okay, so Ponder does actually help out. So let's go and grab Ponders. Put the rest on the bottom in any order. Let's go for the Skull Clamp equip onto servo. Ooh, there we go. So we do run into Path to Exile. So at this point, we still have access to Path. We're going to be able to let them swing in next turn. We can go for Ponder to set up a servo token for next turn, but I think I kind of like setting it up with Profiros on the battlefield because I really do like that extra damage. So at this point, let's just go and pass the turn because it puts them in a spot to where if they do decide to swing in, we can go in response to that, go for Path to Exile Champion, and that does give us an opportunity to block on one of their creatures. So anything else, let's go and pass the turn. Since we are making our land drops for the turn, we're going to try to discard down to hand size off of all of our lands. So let's go ahead and get rid of Steam Vents. Nature's Claim on Skull Clamp. Okay. That is a bummer, but it looks like they're going to get it on that one. So that does bump us back up to 36, which actually does make a difference in a game like this, especially them going for that. So let's drop Homeward Path, and I think what we'll do is we'll drop Flooded Strand, because worst case scenario, we can just have Steam Vents come into play tapped, and we'll be able to get that going. Now, we did draw into Dak Faden, so if we do get a spot to where we can get down Dak Faden and get that card draw going, that'll really help us out. But there's only one artifact on the battlefield right now on our opponent's side, and that's Haunted Cloak, which we're not super worried about grabbing that. There might be a scenario to where maybe we go for Kykar and then steal it with Dak Faden, and that way we have haste. But I think at this point right now, if Saheeli does stick around on the battlefield, being able to go for Profiros, because next turn that'll be Ponder. We can even go for an expansion on Ponder if we wanted to get a few more servo tokens. So we'll see what's going to happen. Now, one thing that we do need to watch out for with Guruk Wildspeaker is that -4. Creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample. They get enough creatures on the battlefield that will not be good for us. So we definitely want to watch out for that. And with Karametra's Acolyte out there, their Devotion to Green is not too bad. Once we get rid of Champion, that'll be a pretty good feeling. So let's see how they decide to swing in. They do have at least 4 attackers that will be able to swing in. And they're going to be swinging in at Saheeli, us, and then at us. So let's go for Path to Exile on Champion, because we just need to try to stabilize it in some form or fashion. So get the servo token down, and then we'll get a kind of re-rack on who is swinging at Saheeli and who's swinging at our life total. Okay, so we got Squirrel at Saheeli, we got Beast Token at us, and we have Toski at us. We can block on Toski to stop the card draw, and I think that'll... I guess technically it doesn't really matter, because this is going to be Toski and Beast Token at us, and then we've got Squirrel Token at Saheeli. Now, if we do want to make the trade with Squirrel Token, that does give us opportunity to kind of stop some of the card draw as the game goes on, and I think I kind of like that. So let's block on Squirrel Token. That's going to just get rid of one less creature since we're not really running into a ton of removal. And then hopefully next turn between Ponder and Profiros dealing some extra damage, or maybe even something like Expansion, we'll be able to develop our board state to where we can kind of deal with all these creatures and getting that card draw. And also, we can also use Explosion as a way to kind of target Guruk Wildspeaker if things get a little out of hand. And especially with Tracker on the battlefield, having that fight ability, if we can get Saheeli protected, that'll give us a nice little source of tokens. So let's see what we draw into, though. All right, so let's go to our draw step. Draw into Force of Will. Let's make the land drop for the turn. And let's do this first. Let's go for Ponders. Look at the top 3 cards of our library. That's going to be a servo token. And that's going to be Impact Tremor and Archmage. Ooh. So I kind of do like Archmage in this scenario. That's going to be some extra card draw. Yeah, let's do that. So let's grab Archmage. And we'll put those on the bottom in any order. And actually, with Tracker out there, they're going to immediately have it fight. I thought about that. If we invest into a creature like that. So let's do this. Let's just go and shuffle our library. I think that'll work out. So we'll see what we draw into. Talisman of Creativity. That's perfect because that gives us an extra token on the battlefield. So let's tap down a Talisman of Progress. Let's get that servo token down. And then let's go for Dak Faden. That's going to be an extra servo token. And I think what we'll do on this one, we'll simply just go for the +1. We could try to go for a Haunted Cloak, but I like going for the +1. Let's get some card advantage going. So we're going to draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. This can be Mausoleum Wanderer and Talrand. So I think what we'll do on this one, since we are looking at Tracker, let's go ahead and get rid of Talrand. And I kind of like well, actually, we can hold on to Mausoleum Wanderer if we want to. There is a scenario to where we can actually Dragon Shift with some servo tokens if we get there, and I kind of like holding on to that. So let's get rid of Talrand, and we'll get rid of Mausoleum Wanderer. That's nice if we have a lot of spirits on the battlefield, but we don't have those right now. So let's drop in Steam Vents. We'll have that come into play tap because, we're not... Our life total is still pretty high at 32, but if we don't have to take the 2 damage for any reason, then we'll go and dodge that life total. So anything else, we're going to go ahead and pass the turn. So we'll see what else they have. You know, if they do have some sort of sorcery spell with expansion, we're going to be able to copy it. If not, we're going to try to use it for Wild Speaker. But then making tokens on the battlefield, I feel like we're not going to have to worry about the -4 that often. But yes, 4th of July. So if you don't know, Loretta is my little girl. She's 1.5, or a little older than 1.5, and they're going to go for the... they're going to fight one of the servo tokens. Yeah, sure, go for it. That's some... that's some good robot. I mean, that's some good magic stuff right there. Having a squirrel fight a robot. I like that. But yeah, so we had a 4th of July party in my hometown yesterday, and so we took Loretta to that. She's 1.5, a little over 1.5. And she enjoyed it. It was really cool. You know, she's at that age to where she can really take in... Ooh, Scut Swarm. Okay. Yeah, let's go and go Force of Will on that one, because that's going to be a lot of tokens. So let's go Force of Will. Let's exile... Because I like expansion for next turn. I think that works out. So let's exile Dragon Shift. That's going to give us an extra servo token. And we're going to get rid of Scut Swarm, because if we just simply, you know, we don't really have anything that interacts with our opponent's board state. If we had Cyclonic Rift, we'd maybe let that come down to send everything back. But getting rid of Scut Swarm is something that we're definitely A-okay with. And now we're setting ourselves up for a really nice expansion to go for some card draw to kind of refuel. So let's see how they decide to do this. If they keep attacking our life total, I think we're just going to let that come on through. Now, we can stop the card draw if we want. They're sitting at 4, and they've got 4 mana. Oh, they're going to send in Karametra's Acolyte, too. Okay, so let's go for the blocks on this, because we do want to stop the card draw. Hopefully we can... Well, that'll be a lot of card draw. Either way, I think we need to get this done. So let's go and block on... I guess technically we'll just block on Toski. That way we can minimize the commander damage in case something happens. So, all right, so we're going to stop the 3. Your opponent's going to get in for 1. That's going to drop us to 30, and that will be some card draw. But yeah, so we took her to a parade, and she's getting to this age now to where... she's interacting with the world. She finds things very interesting. There was a marching band, and she saw a fire truck, and you know, classic cars and different things like that. So she really enjoyed herself, and it was also fun to have her just on my shoulders, and she was just the whole time just taking it in. So that was a lot of fun. And when the fireworks came, because we live out in the country, so I don't know where you live, but in the country you can shoot fireworks, and they were popping all night, and thankfully that didn't. You know, we used to love doing fireworks growing. Oh no, it's gonna be second harvest. Okay, and oh, that would have been nice if we had tokens. We could have gone for expansion. That would have been pretty cool, but it doesn't look like we can do that. All right, so let's see what we draw into for the turn. That's gonna be Boros Charm. Okay, so we got expansion for a bunch of card draw. I think we need to go for that. So let's go for the +2 right now. Target player draws 2 cards, then discards 2 cards. We can at least get rid of Boros Charm, because that's not something really we want to see right now. This is going to be Snapcaster. Yeah, on, you know, something like Impulse. I guess that's okay. So let's go ahead and discard Boros Charm. And I think Proforos. I think, you know, Proforos is nice, but I think at this point we just really need to get some sort of board state developed with tokens. So we can go for expansion. This can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be 5 card draw. And we might be able to get something kickstarted, getting some artifacts out there. Or we can go Snapcaster on Impulse and try to kickstart it that way. Let's give that a shot. So let's go Snapcaster. Because hopefully with Impulse, that's going to allow us to maybe not have to completely tap out on all of our mana. At the very least, we can expansion on that. So let's go and go Snapcaster on Impulse. Let's go for Impulse. And I guess technically we can expansion on that if we want to get an extra token down, and I think I kind of like that. So let's go for expansion. So we're at least going to look at the top 8 cards of our library, which is a pretty good feeling. That's going to give us access to hopefully finding Cyclonic Rift to kind of hit the reset button on this. So let's go for our copy Impulse. That's going to be Selfless Spirit and Soul Ring. So we're going to grab Soul Ring because that gives us an extra token on the battlefield. Let's put those on the bottom in any order. Let's get that Servo token on the battlefield. And let's go for the second Impulse. It's going to be Preordain, Shared Animosity. And just to kind of keep the party going, let's go and grab a Preordain. With Shared Animosity, that's definitely one of the cards that we want to see in late game when we have a lot of tokens. But right now, we're not going to be able to do that. So let's get Soul Ring down. Let's get an extra Servo token. And then let's go for Preordain. That's going to be 1 blue mana, and that'll be an extra Servo token. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've got 7 creatures out there. We are kind of rebuilding our board state pretty decently, and that is Teferi's Protection with a command tower. Let's go put Bloodstained Mire on the bottom, and let's put Teferi's Protection on top. and then we draw into that. Yeah, I like that a lot. So, and we do have access to go for the Sea Healing thing, but we want to keep that nice and protected. So anything else is going past the turn. But yeah, with Teferi's Protection, that really does work out. You know, we are digging for some sort of board interaction with our opponent's board, but being able to have Teferi, in fact, before they, well, let's see what they do before we end up going for Teferi's Protection. But that does buy us a lot of time to hopefully set up for next turn, especially with Dak Faden. And then maybe we can try to stop a lot of this extra Toski combat damage. But, all right, opponent's going to go for Toski. Let's go for Teferi's Protection on this one. That's going to be 1-2. And we'll get an extra servo token, and that servo token does enter the battlefield before Teferi's Protection does resolve, so that is a good thing. So we'll end up with about 5 servo tokens, Snapcaster, and then hopefully next turn we'll be able to get some good stuff moving and get a few more servo tokens. It is kind of an uphill battle trying to stop Toski from getting that card advantage, but hopefully with Dak Faden we find something pretty decent, or if we run into Cyclonic Rift we might be able to get some stuff moving. Now there are some new additions to the deck. We did add Archmage, we saw that earlier in the game. We also did add Stormkiln Artist. And if you're not running a deck with Stormkiln in there, I highly recommend it. Being able to get those treasure tokens, and I think, let's look at Storm. I think it's non-creature or instant and sorcery. Yeah, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, create a treasure token. Stormkiln is a very, very good card. Being able to get those artifact tokens on the battlefield, that is a very good feeling. So I enjoy that very much. All right, so we do fog out the turn. Opponent's going to get another beast token on the battlefield, and then we'll see if they have anything else to pay off for it. It looks like they don't. They are sitting at some pretty good Karametra Devotion. Alright, so let's go for the +1. Target player is going to draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards. You know, we are fine with getting rid of both of these. So let's get rid of Battlefield Forge and we'll get rid of Arid Mesa. Let's drop in Murmuring Mystic. And one of the good things about getting down Murmuring Mystic at this point right now is that we do have access to delay, and that will still give us some sort of opportunity for next turn to where we don't have to worry about Tracker over there fighting our creatures as soon as they come down. So anything else, let's pass the turn. So we'll get a oh, and our opponent's got Bear Umbra too. I just now saw that on Toski. That is a lot of mana. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they got 8 creatures, and we have 7 creatures on our side of the battlefield. We're probably going to see Tracker tap down, get rid of Snapcaster, so that'll kind of make it trade to where they're still at least getting 1 in. But if they do have some sort of spell, at least that'll be a bird token and a servo token that we can go for. All right, opponent's going to fight Snapcaster. And yeah, just visually imagining Toski just, you know, because Snapcaster looks like a pretty adept wizard. And so just seeing Snapcaster getting taken down by a squirrel, that's what makes Magic fun. But oh yeah, with the new adventure set, we can talk about that a little bit. Let's get that pulled up. Adventures in Forgotten Realms. I'm really excited about this set. You know, a lot, kind of, when you do Magic content, you kind of run into a little bit of fatigue with the amount of sets that they've released sometimes, and to kind of have this D&D set that seems really bizarre. There's a lot of treasure tokens in there. There's a lot of legendary creatures that I'm really excited about building. Even something as simple as like Mono Blue Dragon, where it's basically just Mono Blue Ochitai. There's a lot of cool designs in this set, so I'm excited to be kind of churning out some of the content for that. But it's Imrith, Desert Dew, Ward 4, as long as it's untapped, and then whenever it deals combat damage to player, draw a card. And if you have fewer than 3 cards, draw cards equal to the difference. So I'm actually pretty excited about that. All right, so let's take a look at where these beast tokens are going. I think we've got the entire crew. We've got Toski, and we've got all the beast tokens. Let's make sure this can be untapped on lands. Because with Toski, combat damage to a player, they get that card draw. So that's going to be Toski on Dak Faden, Dak Faden, Dak Faden, Dak Faden, Dak Faden, Dak, and Dak. All right, so we got the entire crew swinging at Dak Faden. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we've got 6 creatures. So we can definitely block on one of the beast tokens. And if we block out across the board, that still gives us Dak Faden, and I really feel like this card draw is very important for us. Or what we can do is we can let this combat go through and then stop the Toski card draw for next turn, but we are completely dependent upon what we draw into next turn. Like if we just rip a land, that is not good. I kind of like, because we'll see 3 cards with Dak Faden. I kind of like doing this. It might end up coming back to bite us, But I like this. And in fact, let's go and go 1 on Toski. There we go. So that'll be 3. That's still going to keep Dak fading around. We're going to lose most of our board state. We still have Murmuring Mystic around. Then if our opponent does cast something, at least we'll be able to kind of start to rebuild our board state with delay out there. And Saheeli. But, yeah, imagine being Dak fading. You Gurk 6 his entire beast pack on him. So, alright, so we're going to still end up with Dak fading sitting at a 1. And they do have 1 card left in hand after the land drop. So we'll see if they have anything to cast, but we'll definitely burn this delay pretty quick. Alright, opponent's going to go for Prey Upon, so let's do that. So let's go delay on this. That's going to give us a bird token and a servo token. And if we do run into Rift, we'll actually be in a pretty good spot, because that's just going to be Toski, and that'll be Karametra and Tracker, and we'll get rid of all the beast tokens that our opponent's been building up with Gurk Wildspeaker. So, oh, and one of the other cards that got released in, that they previewed is Treasure Vault. It's an artifact land, and first of all, enters the battlefield untapped. You can add colorless mana to your mana pool, and then it says double X, create X treasure tokens. And oh boy, I'm very excited about that card. That sounds like a lot of fun. All right, so we do run into Shivan Reef. Let's go and go for the +1. We're going to draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. Hopefully we find something of value as we're digging a little bit deeper into our library. And let's see what this is. Faithless Looting. Well, actually, excuse me, the Faithless Looting, that'll be us just drawing 2 cards and discarding 2 cards. So I guess at this point, we can try to set up a Temple of Triumph. Either way, we're going to end up losing Dak Fading next turn, once they do decide to swing in. And if we just want to get a few extra treasure tokens, we can just go for an empty Faithless Looting. So let's drop Shivan Reef and Temple of Triumph. This is going to be an empty Faithless Looting, but at this point, we're just trying to get some tokens on the battlefield to stop that Toski card draw. So let's get Murmuring Mystic token. That's going to be Servo token. Draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. We'll get rid of both of these. It'd been nice to hit Mana Crypt, but unfortunately we can't do that. And we can always wait until next turn for Faithless Looting on the flashback, so I think we'll do that. So anything else, we will pass. Well, we can swing in to get rid of Gurk Wildspeaker. Kind of like that. That does put our opponent on them cashing in a lot of card draw. And actually, let's redo those attacks. Let's go and swing in at Gurk Wildspeaker, swing in at Gurk Wildspeaker, and then swing in at Gurk Wildspeaker. So either way, we're going to be okay. We're either going to get rid of Gurk Wildspeaker, or they block with Toski on one of our creatures. Because one of the things, if we're not finding Cyclonic Rift or some sort of way to interact with our opponent's board state, as long as we can get rid of that -4, that's going to be very important for us. And plus we're not going to be able to stop a lot of card draw for next turn. So. All right, anything else? We're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponents. But yeah, so we're probably going to see our opponent swinging at Dak Fate, and that'll get rid of that card draw. So at the very least, even if we don't draw into something good for next turn, if we run into another land, at least we do have kind of a Dak Fate activation out of the graveyard with Faithless Looting. But yeah, with Forgotten Realms, let's kind of switch back over to there. They have, if you didn't see it, they have some enchantments. They're called classes. They have like Monk class, Rogue class, Sorcerer class, and with Sorcerer class, that's really cool. Like, I can't wait to put it in a deck like this. So with Sorcerer class, enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, and discard 2 cards, which is nice in itself. Then it has the level up option for a blue and a red. Ooh, our opponent's going to lignify our Murmuring Mystic, so we're going to have no more bird tokens. But once you go to the level 2 on Sorcerer class, that makes all of your creatures tap down from blue or red to cast instant or sorceries. And in a deck like this, if you've got the board state developed, you can see if we had Saheeli, we had the bird tokens, the servo tokens, be able to tap those down for an extra expansion or something like that, get some extra card draw. Pretty good feeling. So, all right, so opponent's going to untap their lands. Let's see. I think they're swinging in the entire crew at us. Yeah, they got the entire crew swinging in at us, so we can actually leave Dak fading around. So this is going to be a big chunk of damage. I think we're going to let this go through. And we'll see what that drops us down to. That's going to drop us down to 12, and that's going to be a lot of Toski card draw, in addition to them having Karametra out there, because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be 4 devotion off Karametra, and especially if they start casting some more stuff off of this card draw. So we'll see. the quest for Cyclonic Rift right now. We'll see if we can beat our opponent or not, and let them get this main phase started, or second main phase started. But yeah, there's some good stuff in there. And then also with the third level up off of the Sorcerer class, where did it go? Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, that spell deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of instant or sorcery spells you've cast this turn. So that's a really cool card, especially for Commander. You know, you get it down, you get that card advantage. Then you go for the level 2 that turns your creatures into little, instant or sorcery mana dorks. And then once you get to level 5, especially, late game like this, we're not really drawn into anything. We leveled up to level 5. That gives us basically like 1,000-Year Storm. We're not going to be able to copy those spells, but having that extra kind of damage effect it's a wonderful option. So it's really nice kind of seeing a lot of versatility like that. And there was something else that kind of... Oh, Minsec. I think that's how you say it. We got a Naya Commander, Human Ranger. Whenever Minsec enters the battlefield, create Boo, a legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste that is a 1/1. And then Minsk, I think that's how you say it, has an activated ability of X. Until end of turn, target creature you control has base power and toughness XX and becomes a giant in addition to its other types. So that is, that's some good magic. I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to take that into a Voltron route. And if you haven't, well, actually, I'll try to put the token up as I edit this. But that token, that's that's what makes Commander fun. All right, opponent's going to go for Deranged Hermit. Look, this is... it is do or die this turn. Let's see what we run into. We got Attack, Fade, and Activation. We got Faithless Looting out of the graveyard. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got 11 mana. So let's see. We see, because the Cyclonic Rift's going to be 7. We still got an opportunity. We can go Attack, Fading, and then we can still end up going for Faithless Looting out of the graveyard. But even then, even if we do run into Cyclonic Rift, it might just kind of delay the inevitable, but if we can draw into it, we'll certainly take it. So let's get these triggers resolved, and we'll see what we rip into for next turn. All right, so we are staring down a very intimidating squirrel army. So let's see what we rip into for the turn. That is Swiftwater Cliffs, which is not what we want to see. Let's go for the +1. Target player draws 2 cards and discard 2 cards. And let's see if we can find it. The hunt for Cyclonic Rift. All right, so we're going to get Attack, Fade, and draw 2 cards, discard 2. We'll go ahead and get rid of Swiftwater Cliffs. And I think we'll get rid of Arcane Signet. Let's go for Faithless Looting. Don't want to dump that into the graveyard. All right, so that's going to be Saheeli. That's going to be an extra servo token. We're going to draw 2, discard 2. That's still going to keep us net positive on 1 card to find Cyclonic Rift. Stormkiln, and then Young Pyromancer. So let's go ahead and get rid of... Yeah, I guess at this point we get rid of Wasteland and Young Pyromancer. Either one. Yeah, I guess Stormkiln does help. We'll get Stormkiln down, but I don't think it's enough to get it done. So tap down for 1 mana red, get down Stormkiln, and then anything else. We will pass the turn and take some squirrel damage. So, in fact, we'll just go and tap down our mana. That way our opponent knows we ain't got nothing. All right, click OK. We're going to lose that mana. We definitely know that. So, anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. So, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's going to be 14 creatures. Mine is 5. That's going to be 9 creatures. And most of them are sitting at a 3/3 or 2/2. So, that is... be a little bit hard for us to do that. And also with Prey Upon, that Prey Upon might come off a suspend right now. I feel like it's getting... No, excuse me. There's still 1 more suspend counter on there. So, and yes, they will pay the echo costs on Deranged Hermit. I feel that's a pretty good play right there. All right, so they're going to be able to get it on this one. And the other cool thing about Toski with the card draw, you saw how much we were digging into our library. And we're at 54 cards in our library left, and our opponent's at 56 cards in their library left. So you can see, even though we're playing, Jeskai, Blue-Red Spellslinger at its core, where we're trying to dig into our library, but you can see where our opponent was able to dig and get just as many cards as we were. So that just kind of goes to show you the power of Toski, especially if it's unchecked and there's no way to deal with it. They're able to get it on that one. So they got the entire crew swinging in. We'll go and let that come in. And I think that's... We'll still offer up some blocks on this, but I think they're going to get it. So we'll go Toski, we'll go Beast Token, Beast, and then we'll block on that. So I think that's going to be 6. Yeah, that's going to be nothing either way. No matter how do we swing in, because that's just 10. Yeah, they're going to get it on this one. So a good game to our opponent. It's always nice to see Toski go off and get some card draw. Look at all that card draw they're going to go for. But that's going to be it for the game. In fact, if you enjoyed it, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.